Hi, it's Nathaniel Wiston here, and welcome to Hollywood Stars of West Anglia. Today I'm travelling to the town of Dunstable. It's to the west of Luton, to the east of Tottenham, and it's to the south of Toddington. It's in South Bedfordshire, and it's in West Anglia. Today's Hollywood star of West Anglia was one of the biggest names in the 1930s, 40s and 50s. He won a lot of plaudits for his natural style of acting and was seen as being the quintessential American hero. It may not be high noon, but we're going to see For Whom the Bell Tolls as Mr. Wiston, Mr. Deeds, goes to Dunstable Town, as I find out about Gary Cooper. Now, I don't know if I've gone the right way, because driving around Luton at the best of times is a nightmare. And you'd think there'd be a sign to Dunstable somewhere, but alas, no. I've got a 4-hour meeting tomorrow, 4 hours. And the thing is, I'm an account executive, right? It's not even a meeting about an account that I work on, but I've been sucked into it, and it's right in the middle of the day. And I said to Sean, what are we going to do for lunch? He says, we'll have a working lunch. And I said, that's not lunch, is it? Lunch implies you have a break. Lunch doesn't mean you sit there eating sandwiches and crisps while still doing work. That's work, that's not lunch. You may be wondering what the all-American Gary Cooper was doing in West Anglia. Well, he had English parents, and in 1909 they decided that young 8-year-old Gary and his older brother Arthur should receive an English education. So they shipped them off from their home in Montana, and they came here to Dunstable. His dad Charles was from the region, and they wanted to turn their sons into English gentlemen. Well, the mum did, she was particularly keen on it. The dad, he wasn't so enthusiastic about the idea, because he left West Anglia to go to America and wanted them to be American. I don't know what the hardest challenge for drivers is, whether it's the Le Mans 24 or the Monaco Grand Prix, but they should add driving through Luton to that list. I need your opinion, Jeremy. Alison's got this funny thing where whenever I get home and I take my shoes off, she always makes me put slippers on, so I can't walk around with bare feet or just socks. She always says, put your slippers on. Does Liz do that? Is that normal? Is that a thing people do? They have to wear slippers at home? I know some people do, but I've never heard of it being mandatory before. At the beginning I said I'm going to Dunstable, but actually I'm going to a few different places today. I've just said Dunstable for the purpose of the intro, where I just say I'm going to this place east of there and west of there, blah blah blah. I'm going to a few different places which will become apparent, but we're going to start off in Dunstable. I don't know if I can park here, but it seems to be okay. We'll give it a go anyway. Well, we're here, we're in Dunstable. I'm on Dunstable High Street, and over here to my left is where young Gary Cooper went to school. This is the building. This was Dunstable Grammar School. It's got a different name now, but it was through these gates Cooper would come in with his brother and received his education in England right here. Short walk from the school, about a 3-minute walk. You can see up there is where I used to live. I don't think I'm going to find out what made Gary Cooper by hanging around on Dunstable High Street, so it's on to the next part of the journey. Now I'm in Houghton Regis, just to the north of Dunstable. The reason I've come to Houghton Regis is because it's here at All Saints Parish Church that Gary Cooper was christened. And that's what it looks like. Jeremy, I don't know if all that Houghton Regis stuff is worth keeping in. It's not a lot to say. He was christened there. There's the church. I'll leave it up to you to make the call on that one. Next stop on the journey today is the village of Tingrith. Gary Cooper was a big outdoorsman. He loved getting out into the country, and it was here in the village of Tingrith where he had a lot of happy days in his childhood, because it was where his granddad used to own a farm. It's about 10 miles north of Dunstable, and it's to the left. That's what that sign says. It's a quarter of a mile away from where I am right now, so we're nearly there. I feel better already coming here. Yeah, it may be getting dark and it may be raining, but this feels like more my kind of place. And this was also Gary Cooper's kind of place. He didn't really enjoy the school with its posh uniform with caps and collars. The head teacher didn't like him because he didn't know algebra, Latin or French. He didn't really like the sports, football and cricket. He much preferred being out here in the country at the farm. This here is Manor Farm. Don't know if you can see the sign. I'll get a bit closer to it. A bit chipped off. This is Manor Farm, and this is the farm that Gary Cooper's granddad, John, used to own. And it was here that Gary Cooper, ignore that car, it was here that Gary Cooper would come to stay. Cooper received a lot of praise for his acting style. It was very natural, almost as though he wasn't acting at all. In his own words, he said he just gave people what they wanted, what they expected from a certain type of character. In real life, Cooper was very reserved, naturally quiet. So I've been thinking, maybe we don't know if he was a good actor or not because nobody really knew what he was like. Well, his family did, probably, but everyone else, they didn't really get that close to him. Well, actually, I read that he was friends with Ernest Hemingway, so he probably knew him. And he used to hang out with Howard Hawks and Barbara Stanwyck and Joel McRae and James Stewart. Oh, I don't think there's much legs in that theory. He probably was a really good actor. I've just been out for a walk here in this field in Tingrith, the same field that Gary Cooper used to play in when he was a small boy. I can't help but think of the similarities between myself and Cooper. We were both brought up in West Anglia, we're both tall, and we both enjoy coming out into the country. Maybe if I had the same breaks in life, I could have been a major movie star out in Hollywood, appearing in cowboy films and starring with Ingrid Bergman. However, Hollywood comes with its own demands that I'm not sure I could keep up with, and the West Anglian life is pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I wouldn't swap this for anything. I've come on a bad day today, but as an ambassador for West Anglia, I hope that you can still appreciate how good this region is, despite the rain and despite the mud and despite the cold and the wind. This is just a bad day. Usually it's good. I know when it's raining they say you shouldn't go under a tree, but I just need a brief respite from this wet weather, and I don't think it's gonna start thunder and lightning. If it does, obviously I'll go and stand in the middle of the field, but for now I'm just going to get some shelter. Plenty of sheep out here, and they're all running in that direction. I'm sure they would have been running pretty fast if Cooper was here, because he was a keen hunter. I don't know if he hunted sheep. They're all looking at me now. I think I might be scaring them. I'm going to leave them to it. When Cooper started off in the acting business, he went under his real name of Frank Cooper. However, there were a bunch of other actors who were using the same name, so his agent told him to change it. She had the bright idea of naming him after her hometown, Gary, Indiana, and he went, Gary Cooper. Yep, that fits. But I've been thinking, why didn't he choose a name that reflects his West Anglian upbringing? He could have used any number of places from round here, and especially the ones he had a connection to. Dunstable, he could have called himself, or Tingrith, that would have been a good tribute. Or even Houghton Regis. I would go and see a film that starred Houghton Regis. Houghton Regis in A Farewell to Arms. Yeah, that sounds like a movie star name. You may be wondering why I'm out here in this field, seemingly in the middle of nowhere, but I came across a quote of Gary Cooper's which I think helps sum up his personality. It really spoke to me, and I wonder if it's going to speak to you, and it's best told in a setting such as this. I've written it down, you'll have to forgive me, it's really long and I couldn't remember it. This is what he said. For me, the really satisfying things I do are offered me free for nothing. He means coming out here. I can relate to that, I'm out here. Ever go out in the fall and do a little hunting? Fall, autumn. I haven't done that. I don't like hunting, but okay, next. See the frost on the grass and the leaves turning? Yeah, I've done both of those things. Spend a day in the hills alone or with good companions? Alone, I've done that. Watch a sunset and a moonrise. Again, I've not purposefully stood there intending to watch it, but I have seen a sunset and a moonrise. Notice a bird in the wind. There's one. A stream in the woods. I've seen them before. A storm at sea. Plenty. Cross the country by train. Yeah, I've been to Newport in South Wales on the train, and catch a glimpse of something beautiful in the desert or the farmlands. I'm seeing something beautiful in the farmlands here today. Free to everybody, he says. That's what Gary Cooper enjoyed, coming out into the wilderness, enjoying what life has to offer, all for free. I find it very interesting that Cooper went on to be a major star, and he came from around here. Well, I was brought up around here, born in Montana, but you know what I mean. And no one ever tells you that you can go and be a Hollywood star. They say do your GCSEs, do your A-levels. And someone from round here, he went off and he just became one of the biggest Hollywood stars of all time. I don't know how he did it. I only really read about the West Anglian parts of his life. So presumably he knew someone, or he got lucky with an agent, gave him an audition. I don't know. I'm going to have to read up. I'm interested now. I'm going to have to find out more. Would have made more sense if I did that before making this video, yes, but hindsight is a gift that we all wish we had. It's a complicated one, Jeremy. I go to a few different places. You might not be able to keep up. If you get stuck, just give me a text. I can help out. But let's just be professional, okay? Set the tone. Get the basics right. Like, don't cut me off in the middle of a sentence. The light is terrible. The light is terrible. You can see me when I'm this close, but I'm all face, aren't I? That was, and so ends our journey around South Bedfordshire, well, South Mid Bedfordshire, telling the story of Gary Cooper's West Anglian connection. He was only here for a few years, yes, between the ages of 8 and 11, but remember what you were like when you were between 8 and 11, and what an important part of your development happened in that time. Well, that important part of Gary Cooper's life happened here in West Anglia. Hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I hope you'll join me again next time. I've been Nathaniel Whiston, and this was Hollywood Stars of West Anglia.